This is Module 2, Expressions and Word Forms. So we're dealing with numerical expressions. So we're going to start. We have to write an expression of 3 times 5. Times means to multiply. Very simply, we are going to do 3 times 5. We will not put an equal sign because that means something else, no equal sign. And an example of 2 different types of tape diagrams for this. 3 pieces, each with 5 in them, are due to their commutative property. I can have 5 pieces, each with 3 in them. Next, this time we're going to write an expression for 3 times the sum of 26 and 4. Sum tells me to add. Since I want to make the multiplication to the sum, I cannot just set it up like this. If I set it up like this, then I'm actually multiplying 3 times 26. But I want to multiply times the sum. I want to get the answer first. So I'm going to put parentheses around it so that I have 3 times the sum. So first I can find the sum. And an example of a tape diagram for this, I'm going to split it into 3 sections. And I'm going to put the sum in each section because I'm doing 3 times that sum. But I'm actually writing the problem of 26 plus 4 instead of writing the sum. And why do we need parentheses in this? We need the parentheses in order to find the sum first. Now, we need to do it with parentheses because in order of operations, multiplication comes before addition. But if you put them in parentheses, parentheses comes before non-parentheses. So here's another one. We're going to write an expression for 6 times. This time it's the difference. Difference means to subtract 60 and 51. In order of operations, our B PEMDAS, we would multiply before we subtracted. So if we left it like this, it would end up as 6 times 60. But we want 6 times the difference. So we need to put this in parentheses again to make sure. An example of how to do this, we have to split it into 6 pieces. And we have to write our problem inside of it. But we don't have to write it each time. We can just give dots so we know the same thing continues on each time. This one, we're going to write an expression, once again for the sum. When we have 2 12s, that's a difficult thing. So we want to find the sum of 2 12s and 4 3s. So that's going between the two. The question is, what is 2 12s? 2 12s is 2 times 12. That's how I get it. 2 12s would be 24, but we're writing 2 times 12. So when it's written like that, it's for multiplication. We can put parentheses, but we don't have to on this one. And 4 3s would be 4 times 3. Sometimes they're going to ask us to work the other way. They're going to give us the expression, and we have to write the expression in words. So we know this means times, and we know that this is subtraction is the difference. And they're finding it of the whole entire thing when they times. So it would be 8 times, what are we finding in here? The difference between 43 and 13. Next one, I look at it before I start. This is the sum in here because they're adding, and this is times. So I want 4 times, I have to find the sum of 16 and 9. here's one of those other crazy examples. We have the sum. So what are we finding the sum of? We want to find the sum of 23s. So we write sum of 23s, and this time we have 5 threes and 5 threes. So now what we're going to do is we're going to practice some of these. So we have to look at those key words. Sum means to add, doubled means times 2. So first I want to find the sum of 8 and 7. And I want to double the sum. If I do this, it's just doubling the 7 because order of operations would tell me to do that first. But if I put it in parentheses, then I'm finding the sum and I'm doubling it. So over here we have 4 times the sum again. So 4 times the sum. So we have to find the sum in parentheses, and it's 4 times that number. This time we have 3 times, but it's the difference. So 3 times, and since we have to find the difference in parentheses, we're going to put our two numbers into the parentheses and subtract them because that's what difference does. Once again, we have to find the sum of 3 16ths. So that's 3 times 16 is 3 16ths. And 2 9s, 2 times 9 would be 2 9s. And to make it look easier, we'll put those in parentheses. They don't have to be on that one. Next, we want the difference between 4 25s and 3 25s. So this time we're finding the difference. We have 4 25s and 3 25s. This time triple. Triple means to multiply times 3, finding a sum, which is addition. So 3 times the sum of 33 and 27. Now we're going to flip using the other way. There's 2 directions. We have to write it in words and find the value. Find it easier to find the value first. So we're going to give our little reminder of B PEMDAS. So in parentheses here, we have 5 plus 25, which would be 30, and we rewrite everything else. This goes back to some of the things that we did before. When we do 12 times 30, we're going to ignore the 0. 12 times 3 is 36, and then we're going to put our 0 back in, which would give us 360. Now we're going to look to write this in words. This is 12 times, and in parentheses is they found the sum. So it is the sum of 5 and 25. Here we go again. We're going to use our B PEMDAS. So first we find what's in parentheses, and we see that that's 50 times 11. We're going to ignore our 0. 5 times 11 is 55, and we can put our 0 back in. This time we're finding the difference. So we are doing 11 times the difference of, well, not of, between 62 and 12. So we'll look at this one. We're finding the sum first. 45 and 55 gives me 100. We rewrite. Now we're going to multiply. We ignore the zeros. 1 times 23 is 23. And we put our 2 zeros back in, which gives us 2,300. And in this time we did 23 times the sum of 45 and 55. So this time we're finding the sum of these 2 parentheses. So first here, that gives us 60, and we rewrite everything else. We've talked about that. Now we use this parentheses, and we realize we come out to this. This time we are finding the sum of 32s. So it's 32s, and then we have 8 2s and 8 2s. Sometimes we're asked to compare, and when we're asked to compare, first thing we're going to do is look here. We're multiplying times 24, and we're multiplying times 12. This number is bigger over here. In the parentheses, they have the same exact thing. So since they have the same thing, and then I'm multiplying times a bigger number on this side, then this has to be bigger. So I'm going to look over here. I have 18 times 27, but over here I have words. So let's write the expression. We have 20 27s, that's what that is, minus 1 27. So when you look at this, and you actually do 20 minus 1, that's here, we get 19 27s. This side has 18 27s, so this side has to be bigger. And now we have 19 times 9, where we have 3 19s tripled. And some of you are stuck when I'm trying to do this all in my head, so you can go and do this and do the actual multiplication out. So over here I would have 19 times 3, and I would have 57 times 3. When I do 57 times 3, I end up with the same answer, so they would be equal. And that's how we work with numerical expressions.